My name is Alan Adcock. I am the CEO of ASC Group. ASC Group is based here in Woodstock, Georgia, and we serve commercial clients in networking and cybersecurity concerns. So today on this episode, we're going to talk about a recent hack that was performed against Twitter. Twitter, obviously, everybody knows what Twitter is. It's a platform that's grown in much popularity here in the recent years. Obviously, there are high-profile people like the President of the United States that use it as a communications platform all the time. So in this recent attack or hack that happened, the perpetrators were able to take control of accounts from high visibility people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Kanye West, Jeff Bezos, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and you know, the list goes on. There were a large number of these high profile accounts that were taking control of. So early reports indicated that this was an inside job, that somebody on the inside of Twitter had done this. After a lot of forensics work went on trying to track this down, it turns out that there was a 17-year-old out of Florida who was the ringleader, and he had a couple of accomplices, one out of Florida and one out of the UK. So these young people were able to gain access to a kind of a back-end system that Twitter runs that allows Twitter employees to take control of accounts, which is a little scary in and of itself. But once basically these guys called up and used social engineering techniques to convince the Twitter employees that they represented these high-profile individuals from an IT perspective. So they claimed to be these folks, personal IT folks, and that they needed access to an account. So once they were able to talk the Twitter employees out of these credentials for this back-end system, they were then able to spread laterally through the environment and take control of a large number of accounts. So I guess they were actually impersonating other Twitter IT people, and so they were able to convince Twitter employee A that they were Twitter employee B and that they needed to get the logins to this back-end system that most people didn't know existed. So once they were in there, they were able to then go and take the control of these accounts and send out tweets on behalf of these famous people. Obviously, with the profile of the Twitter platform and this coverage in media, this could have been really devastating based on, you know, what the messaging that these people decided to send out was. As it was fairly unsophisticated. They basically used this tool as a platform to send out a Bitcoin scam. So, you know, people were getting tweets from Bill Gates and Kanye West saying, "Hey, send me some Bitcoin to do whatever." It was kind of crazy. But they ended up making out with about $120,000 very rapidly, which is kind of surprising. So I'm not sure why anybody would see a tweet and decide to send Bitcoin to somebody, regardless of who it was, but that happened in mass very rapidly. So they came out with $120,000. Obviously, these folks were tracked down and they are now in custody. The 17-year-old in Florida has been jailed on federal fraud charges. And the other perpetrators are up on various other charges, including some financial crimes, wire fraud, and things like that, and then aiding and abetting as well. So in this case, you know, one of the takeaways here for us is that if you're a super high-profile person and somebody runs a scam against you, law enforcement is going to come to your rescue. For most of us, if you get scammed online or you get hacked online, law enforcement is not going to come to our help. They're way too busy, and we're pretty much on our own to recover from that. The other takeaway here is that social engineering attacks work against really, really large, high-profile companies like Twitter, and they'll certainly work against your small business. And we need to keep an eye on those kind of things. We continue to see instances of social engineering where people will use things like business email compromise, send messages internally in a company for the CEO. They'll impersonate a CEO sending in messages to accounting and finance, requesting wire transfers, and those wire transfers are then obviously transferred out of the company, and the company's out that money, requesting access to credentials and that kind of thing. Be really careful if somebody calls you up and identifies as your IT provider and asks for credentials. Usually your IT provider is not going to do that. And make sure you know who they are. Obviously, our ASC clients know who we are, and we have systems in place to make that communication fairly seamless, so they know it's not somebody else. But we have had instances where people have called up clients or people I've known, people have relayed stories to me, and I've gotten the calls myself where I'll get a phone call, especially at my home, and the person on their line will be identify themselves as a Microsoft tech support person, and that they have identified some problem with my computer and they need to get into my computer to fix it. Now, obviously, I find this quite humorous, given my role in technology, and I'll usually roll with them and let them sit on hold for an hour or so while they think they're getting someplace, and they don't. But I just usually waste their time. But we have had people allow access into systems after getting those kind of calls because they sound legit. Microsoft will never call you proactively and say that they have that you have a problem on your computer and that they're there to fix it. That will never happen. You will need to call your IT provider if you have a problem, and if they need Microsoft, they will engage them. But it doesn't happen the other way around. So just keep in mind, in today we're still in the coronavirus lockdown world to some extent. A lot of people working from home still. These scams are on the rise. People can't lean over the cubicle wall, or they can't walk down the hall and confirm something like they would if they were in the office. So just need to make sure that everybody that's working from home is very vigilant of these social engineering types of attacks, and keeps that in mind as they go about their daily business. So that's all we've got for today. Again, I'm Alan Adcock. If you need technical help or want to talk to us about cybersecurity issues in your company, reach out to us at www.ascgrp.com. And for the show notes or anything else on the show, we are available at #Cyber Sentinel. Thank you very much.